Well, good morning. I am so excited to invite Iryna and her husband Vitalii to the podcast this morning. Uh, if you have not yet seen or met Iryna, she was actually one of a guest on our local Fox 4 affiliates here in Dallas back right after the war began. And they did an amazing job of telling her story. And now I have the privilege of talking with her and her husband and doing a little follow up as to what happened after that story aired. So, guys, good morning. Welcome to the podcast. I'll let you guys do a formal introduction of yourself. Tell us your full name and where you're from.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Ira. We're from in Ukraine. My husband Vitalii, and we have three children, one boy and two girls. And
Eh,
their name Oleg, Masha, and Victoria. Now our children visited daycare, preschool, a church, and
Yeah, we
eh,
used to
and
live in Belgorod-Dnistrovsky City, Odessa region.
okay, so where is that in Ukraine?
In that southern part of Ukraine, it's about 60 miles away from Odessa. And it's
60 miles
close,
away.
yeah, it's close about 10 miles or 13 miles away from famous Zatoka resort and that bridge that were hit it more than 10 times.
Wow. So those pictures we saw of that bridge that was completely destroyed, that's near where you lived.
Yeah. That's
Amazing.
the bridge that I used every day according to my job.
You would go over that bridge every day. As
Yeah.
so when you saw that bridge after it had been hit, did you think about that? Did you look at that and say, I used to go on that bridge all the time and now it's gone?
Well, it's interesting story because that day, the first day when they hit it, the bridge for the first time, I was on my way with my parents, with my mother from the hospital from Odessa to Belgorod. So maybe 2 or 3 minutes before they hit the bridge, or after they hit the bridge, that it was some road workers. So they stopped us and said, "You can't go anymore." I said, "Why?" And they said, "Just because the bridge was hit." And we had to
Wow.
turn around and make a huge circle around the bay. And yeah, that was so we were there maybe 2 minutes, and God saved us from being on the bridge at that time when the missile came.
Wow. Talking about the hand of God on you that day, 2 minutes earlier, and you would have been on that bridge.
Yeah,
That is absolute. That's amazing to hear. Vitaly, you've got a purpose in this life. You got God's got something big for you, man. God's got something big for you. So now
yeah.
down near Odessa, uh, Irina, that's where you crossed, right? If I remember correctly. Why don't I let you tell the story? Um, when did you leave? Ukraine. Um, what were you thinking leading up to leaving Ukraine? So before the 24th of February, obviously you guys are hearing about this, the buildup of soldiers on the border. Um, did you think it was going to happen? Did you think Russia was really going to invade Ukraine? And then once it became real to you, and the missiles started flying, when did you and your children make a decision? Okay, we've got to go. And what was that journey like to get from your town to Moldova?
uh, after the war start, I worked orphanage children in Ukraine in our city. And 28 February, I was at work in my work, and I work 8 a.m. Next day 8 a.m. I come back home, And when I come back home, my husband called me and said, very fast, go at home, and said me, you with children need stay, lived, yes,
Yeah, leave.
live in our country because it's very dangerous for our children. And 1st March we take our children and my husband driving us to border in Moldova with Ukraine with Moldova. It's maybe 1 hours to our city, yes. And my husband helped me with children go to border to Moldova, and very good people, Christian people, help me with my children. We go to Chisinau. It's capital Moldova, Chisinau, and we first day we stay Christian Center when Pastor Alex Malancha church, and second day his family pick up us, me with my children, and we stay this family and 1 month, and after 1 month, we stay 3 weeks, and other lady from from Chisinau. And one time, our friend, now he stay with family in United States too, and called me and asked me, "What do you want? What do you think? Maybe." Uh, um, uh, do you need help with your children? And because we have a partner church in United States, and our friends very um, переживали.
They were afraid of us, and they thought that it would be better for the family to be here.
Yes,
Okay.
and
And
yes,
and so where in the United States are you guys currently?
We are in Robertsdale, Alabama. That's beautiful
Alabama.
city. Yeah, wonderful people. Sweet Home, Alabama.
Yes. Alabama. All right. All right. Roll Tide, huh? So
Roll
sorry, that's a
yes,
Tide.
football reference. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
So now, so Vitaly, you dropped your family off at the border. First question is why didn't you go with them? I know you had to go back into Ukraine, and you were obviously trying to take care of them and get them to safety. Um, what were you doing in Ukraine that kept you there?
Well, you see, no one believed that Russia will come across the border, and even we didn't believe that it can be possible. So when war started, the first week it was really hard because no one understands what's going on. They are everywhere. It seems like they will take Kiev in few days because there were so many troops around the Ukraine, all borders, Russia and Belarus. So from the very first day, I started telling Ira that she have to leave country, and she didn't want it to go without me. So I made her actually when she came back from the work from her job. I just said, you have 1 hour to pack your luggage and we are going to Moldova. And I had to stay in Belgrade. We have a church there in Belgrade, First Baptist Church, Belgrade. And that time, the shelf of all grocery shops they were empty because people were afraid and they bought everything on the shelf. Shelves were empty. So we started
Hmm.
thinking how we can help people with food, because a lot of people, they lost job very first day when war started. And we have a lot of stories from people who don't know what to do, and they didn't know what to eat. That's why we had to,
Right.
well, I thought that moment that it would be good for me and easier for me. Because of my work, I was going on circle around the bay every day, and if something happens with Belgorod, I am not able to come really fast and help my family, because we have only two roads to the Belgorod, and then they started hitting the bridge, so now we have only one road to the Belgrade, to that part of Odessa region. And that's why I decided to do this.
So basically, you stayed behind so that you could help people in your community. Is that what I understand?
Yeah.
Wow, wow. What compelled you to do that? I mean, obviously, you sending your family, your children. Um, was it just the overwhelming need that people had needs and you needed to take action, or what really what drove you to make that decision?
Well, you see, it's a long story, and it's really interesting how God leads us. Our church planned to build a new church building, so we prayed 15 years, and something every time something was wrong with starting the construction. So finally God made this, and we built wonderful building, and we had only one Sunday
Uh-huh.
service, and then on Thursday war started. So when war started, we started our
Oh
everyday
wow.
prayer evenings, and we saw how many people are coming to the church, new people. We asked God to fill the sanctuary with people, and God did it in His way, you know. So when we saw
Right.
how many people are showing up, and they have a need, just food, and then we understood that we have to help. So our team, all our church team, were working on how can we help. And then God make another miracle, and our brothers from sister church, it was only second week of the war, so they just called me and said, we are here in Moldova from First Baptist Robertsdale.
Hmm.
And it was like wow for us. They are here to help. Yeah, and then we started a new
Wow.
ministry.
And so all of it was, I mean, really, it was a God thing. I mean, God told you to build a new church. You built a new church. You opened the new church. War
Yeah,
starts, and then God used that your new church in a way that you had no idea that He was going to use it that way.
yeah, and
That's
that
that's
was
that's an
right in
incredible
time.
story.
Yeah,
It's amazing. God's timing is not always our timing, but God's timing is always the right timing, right? So that's I
yeah.
think we've seen that time and time again, and I know in my life I've seen that, and we see that all the time. Um, what was it like? And I'm trying to imagine this. What was it like when you were at the border that day and you were sending your wife and your three children off? Um, I mean, I know that you have the faith that God is going to protect them and that He's going to take good care of them. But at the same time, I know as a father myself, there's a human nature there. There's a human element that makes you kind of go, this very well could potentially be the last time I ever see them in this life. Um, what was going through your mind when you said goodbye to them at the border?
Well, it was really hard, and it was huge line there. It's like maybe 300 or 500,000 people in that line to go to cross the border. So for me, it was hard. You know when you have to leave your family, and you don't know where they will go. You don't have any friends in Moldova. You don't have any relatives in Moldova. You don't have any. You don't know anything about this. So we just pray that God will take care about the family, and yeah, we did it. It was hard, but we had to do this because that time it was a lot of pictures from the war, a lot of bodies, a lot of soldiers. So when Ira didn't want to go, I just showed her some pictures and asked, "Do you want our kids to see this?" She said, "No, I don't want our kids to see this."
Right.
That's why we decided to that they have to go, and it was hard decision, but we had to do the decision.
Wow. Yeah. It's I've said this on so many of these podcasts. Some of the most gripping images that are kind of stuck in my mind are the images of the children, and you wonder, um, you know, they have seen things that obviously children here in the United States will more than likely will ever see. They'll never see it. And we get the pictures in from Pastor Alex, who was actually on the podcast just a few weeks ago. We get the pictures in from him, and of course I remember seeing the pictures of you and your kids when they came across, and I just, some of these children, you just pray, your heart is broken, and you just pray that God will protect their minds from what they have experienced and what they've seen, and that they'll be able to get the help that they need, to be able to move on and live a strong adult life. And you know that's probably one of the hardest things for me to think about is the children, and you had three of them. So
Yeah.
what were you guys telling them as you were approaching the border, and then once you got over the border?
Well, I just tell them that they have to listen to their mama, and I told my son, he is oldest one, to help his mama and help sisters, and just take care about the family. I said, you are the man now, and you have to take care about the family.
And how old is he?
He is 7 years old.
7 years old. Wow.
This will
And
be 8.
in August will be 8. Okay. And what did you tell them once you crossed? How did you console them? And then I'm really interested to hear about this journey. Obviously, you went from Moldova, and now you're in Alabama. Uh, what were you telling them as you guys were moving along, or as you were moving along with them? And what did they think when they arrived here in the United States?
So they're enjoying to be here in the States. And at the border, uh, I understand that it's going to be a lot of tears. So I don't want it to do this. That's why I made it so fast that no one will even understand what's happened. So we just crossed the border, and it was 10 or 15 people coming to us and asking questions. Do you have place to stay? And do you need some help? Do you need some food? It was all these people were Christians. It was about 100 cars waiting for Ukrainians just to take them and drive them to Chisinau. It was churches that just touched my heart really, really, because we saw how people are opened for us. Yeah, that's
Chisinau and other village, other cities, different cities, these people ready go to different village.
yeah. We're really grateful to people of Moldova for their huge heart for Ukrainians. We never think that they will do something like this. And now I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, and may God bless them, because yeah, that's amazing.
That's one of the things that has surprised me, and I guess it should have been a surprise, but for some reason it always surprises me, is how quickly the churches pulled together after the 24th of February, how quickly they came together to help. It was this really somewhat a global effort. I remember that, within a week or two after the war had begun, even here at our church in Dallas, Texas, we were taking up an offering. We were, working with a Convoy of Hope, which is an organization that was bringing in supplies. And the pastors I've talked to thus far have all said the same thing. They've all echoed the same thing. They've said, we were shocked to see so many different churches, both the evangelical churches and others that may not be as evangelical, putting differences aside because they realized there was a greater need to help, and coming together and uniting to support each other and support those who are crossing the border. Um, Amazing. So, Vitaly, I got to ask you, when did you get into the United States? Because it wasn't too long ago, right?
No. It was a week ago. Actually, this next Saturday, it's going to be 2 weeks when I'm here. So not a long time.
So 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Wow. And have you guys been able to go enjoy anything or do anything fun yet?
Oh
Or are you
yes,
just still
we
resting?
no, we don't have any time to rest. We have to go. Yeah, we
Go, go,
spent some
go.
time at water, some kind of water park with church, whole family. It was really nice time. Yeah,
Nice. Good,
and
good.
I enjoyed your
Well,
wonderful
what's
food.
next? You enjoyed our wonderful food. Well. Hey, I love your guys' food when I go over there. Eastern Europe is one of my favorite places in the world to travel. I've done missions work and humanitarian work in Hungary and Romania, of course, and I love the food over there. I was talking to a gentleman from Ro- Romania, yeah, and he was mentioning your guys' pizza. He said, he says he has never had pizza like he's had pizza in Ukraine. And he said it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
So I made a deal with him. I said, well, next time I'm over there, we'll grab some pizza together. So, well, what's next for you guys? Where are you heading from here?
Well, that's big question for us because we don't know how much time we will spend here, and we are just praying that war will finish as soon as possible, and we will be able to go home, because our goal is to be back to Ukraine. We don't want to stay here, and just for security reasons we are here. And
Right,
because
right.
our thought with our church, they today actually they had 2 trucks with food, and they continue serving people with food. And it's each
Wow.
week our church gives out about 1,500. Last times it was 1,800 food bags to the people, and that's huge ministry.
Some Yeah, that's a lot of food, and I know that in some of the villages, obviously, getting those resources is critical because the supply chain has been interrupted, and a lot of people can't get the basics that they need to survive, and so um, I know that is a massive impact that your church is making back there. Have you been in contact? Well, obviously, it sounds like you've been in contact with them. What are they saying as far as the war efforts? Are they, we kind of get the little reports here. We know there's a lot of fighting going on over kind of in eastern Ukraine right now, but then we'll occasionally hear about the Odessa region getting hit. What are they saying? What are they seeing over there?
Well, the brightest story I will tell you that it was few days ago when the church was over. So our nephew, the girl, she came out of the church and she saw the missile going right over our city.
Oh my.
That's the reality. That's the reality in Ukraine now. They see the missiles, they just going somewhere, and it was so scary moment for them because no one knows where it will hit. Yeah, so Russians sent
Well,
missiles all around the country.
hopefully they shot it down. So I know that I've heard reports that a lot of the missiles are being shot down, and of course that's the goal, so they don't hit anything. Um, but still, I mean, a scary thing to go out and I know that we had a pastor who was kind of in the central Ukraine region, and while he was doing a live stream or while he was recording a video, all the sirens started going off, and he was told you're in a very safe area. You're in a very safe area. No problems. No problems here at all. You don't have to worry about anything. While he was recording his video, all the sirens started going off, and he was like, okay, where do we go? So he had to make a quick decision. And the church, the pastors that he was with there, of course, nothing ended up happening, but they got him to safety. So, in case something were to happen. So, well, let me ask you this kind of as we wrap up this morning's interview. And again, thank you so much for spending the time and sharing kind of what's happened since the last time we heard from you guys. What would you tell the people if someone in Ukraine right now is watching this podcast and they're they're seeing you guys and they're saying, wow, here's this young family and their children who have made it from Ukraine to Alabama. What would you tell them? How would you encourage them?
Well, uh, I will say in Ukrainian, okay?
Oh, certainly.
Я хочу сказати вам, щоб ви трималися, і наша надія лише на Бога, тому що лише Бог може допомогти нашій країні та врятувати нашу країну. І разом з вами ми будемо молитися про те, щоб Бог зупинив цю страшну війну і все це закінчилося.
Okay, so for those of us who don't speak Ukrainian, what generally did you just say?
Well, I just said that we have hold on all together and we have asked God to stop this war because only He is able to stop this horrible war. Only God can.
Absolutely. And I guess my final question for you guys today is: how can people, still get involved? What are the greatest needs that you see? If you've got someone here in the United States, maybe it's a pastor here in the United States, maybe it's just someone watching tuning into the podcast, and they're saying, "Well, I did, I made a donation at the very beginning, but I would still like to do more." What would you recommend? What would you say is the best way for people here in the United States to get involved in helping those in Ukraine?
Well, I can say about our church and about the ministry that church in Robertsdale doing, collaborating with our church, because they at first Robertsdale they have the special web page called Serve Ukraine, and they have these donations that go specific to Ukraine, because every truck with food it costs about $40,000 every truck, and we need 2 trucks a month, at least 2 trucks a month every month, just for our church and small sister churches in our Belgrade district. So yeah, the food, and then well, summer will over, and probably the clothes will be needed as well. So that's the basic stuff that people are in Ukraine they need. Because this story of the man, he came to our church and he said, I used to have my job in the Toka resort, but now I'm fired. So the only food I have is that this food bag that you're giving me, and then I will go for fishing to the bay. And if I will catch some fish, that's my food. So you understand
Wow.
how people live now in Ukraine, some of them. And it's not
Right.
just the poorest people or homeless people. It's a lot of people, middle class, that, yeah, that's. So if you want to
Well,
help,
that's
you
that.
may help by donations, or just stay in touch with brother Sean, and he will tell you what to do.
Yeah, if you're watching the podcast right now, I want to encourage you. I'm going to include the link to the page where you can get involved. So just click on that link, and it will take you to the church's webpage uh, that Vital just mentioned. And every little bit helps. Whether it's maybe you can afford $5 or $10, maybe you can afford more than that. As we've constantly said on this podcast, every little bit helps come together to help. These folks who desperately need uh, the the food bags and boxes that are being taken over there. So or helping with transportation of getting it into the country. So um, well, guys, again, as we kind of wrap here, I want to just say thank you so very much. I am so grateful. Praise God, you guys are back together again. That you guys are safe, and we cannot wait to get another interview with you guys when you're back in Ukraine at your home church once this war is over. And you guys will be in our prayers, as will your children. And of course, if there's anything you need while you're here in the United States, please let us know. Okay.
Okay. Well, we have more than enough. We have food. We have safe house. We don't need anything else. Thank you.
Sean here. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. If you enjoyed it, please consider giving it a like, a follow, and a share. And if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast platform, consider giving it 5 stars. I look forward to sharing the next story with you real soon.